Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sessions with J Cal. That's where we talk about pro wrestling. We do interviews, exclusive interviews you probably won't hear anywhere else because we're going out and we're getting some of the best wrestlers here in the Southern California and beyond to talk about professional wrestling. And the gentleman I'm speaking to today, well, stands 6'4". He's built at 275, but I mean, he's jacked. He might even be bigger than that. My guest today is from the Sin City, the Neon Phenom, and I'm talking about Anthony Idol. Anthony, welcome. Thank you for joining us on Sessions today. It's good to see you, man. How are you?
I'm all right, man. I'm doing okay.
So, long time no talk. I met you a couple years ago, and we'll tell the story about it, but one thing that I really appreciated the first time I actually sat there and spoke with you was your knowledge of professional wrestling. You're not just a guy that grew up on the WWE or WCW. I mean, you were talking to me about Grand Olympic Auditorium days, and that kind of brings joy to my heart because those are a forgotten era in professional wrestling. A lot of people don't even know that we had a weekly wrestling show live in Los Angeles at the Grand Olympic Auditorium for many, many years. Tell me about your interest in the Grand Olympic and tell me about how you got into pro wrestling.
Well, I don't know the actual genesis of my fandom. I probably just being in front of the TV. So I know that my dad and I watched a little bit of wrestling, and then my folks got divorced. And the big thing as far as history goes was I got two history books on consecutive Christmases. They're right there. I can see them right there on my bookshelf. I still have them. So those big history books really kind of give me a lot of backfill because there was, of course, a lot of the current stars in there. So seeing like a picture of Roddy Piper in like those plaid trunks in the NWA, I was like, what the hell is this? Like there's a before. And the big chunk of history section at the beginning of the book that had Luthez and Gorgeous George and Haystacks Calhoun and stuff like that. So just finding that stuff out and then talking to my uncles and my grandfather and my dad, because my dad grew up, although he's born in Cleveland, and he had stories about his grandparents watching wrestling, or pardon me, his aunts and uncles watching wrestling. But he grew up mostly in LA. So he was telling me all about Dick Lane and Blassie, and so yeah, that's really how I learned about Grand Olympic.
What an incredible time! And then Dick Lane would go on to announce games in like San Diego, right, for the Padres.
Yeah,
good stuff, man. Yeah, I always tell people I was born a couple of years too late because I never got to go to the Grand Olympic and see that old style wrestling. I mean, I got to see ECW there. That was cool. I got to see XPW run a show there, but the real mystique of the 70s and 80s I completely missed out on. And it's like, dang, I just wish I was the oldest brother. I could have had so much fun. And speaking of fun, there's nobody I see on the internet having as much fun as you, whether it be the pool parties, heading down to TJ, going down those gigantic water slides. Tell me about what it's like being Anthony Idol. I mean, you're a pro wrestler, you're a party extraordinaire, and then like I see you on social media where you're being interviewed by San Diego's finest in the media. You're on like newscasts and you're in the radio booth. Like you're a whirlwind of media.
Well, I've sort of accepted that I'm charismatic.
Oh, okay,
Uh,
that works.
so they've I don't know why, but I usually get chosen, pointed at for those gigs where we're talking to the news and stuff like that. So spoke with Jenny Milkowski, have a little bit of a relationship with Scott Kaplan, who's now back on 1090. But I don't know, just always charming since San Diego at large, man. I was on there with Larry Himmel as well.
So when we look at Anthony Idol, the pro wrestler, I mean, you've been an EWF heavyweight champion, SoCal Pro heavyweight champion. You've held those the EWF America's Championship. You're one of these guys in the SoCal area who I think gets really overlooked by a lot of the promotions, just because I feel like they don't know how to use a guy who's 6'4" and 270 pounds. You got your break. You started training in pro wrestling with UPW, correct?
No, my
Oh,
first foray into training was in Tijuana.
oh,
I
okay.
I when I was wrapping up college, like I didn't really understand how pro wrestling school worked. So I approached it like college. Like I wrote letters to a bunch of different schools. I visited a bunch of different schools. I drove out to the original school, Hard Knocks. Um, let's see. I wrote letters to UPW. Ended up going back home to San Diego right after college, and working at a gym. And I was pulling the pool covers out over the pool, and this like 5'4", 240 pound like fire plug of a person comes up to me and can we swear on this thing?
Yeah, go right ahead.
All right. So he goes, "Hey, I fucking hear you want to be a fucking wrestler." I was like, yes. You meet me behind the fucking Unicorn fucking 76, the fucking power. I fucking take you to fucking Tijuana, whip your ass. I was like, yes, sir. So I met this complete that was the greeting, like no handshake. I think I had name, phone number right then, and then met this complete stranger and went to Tijuana and got my ass beat respectfully, and then vomited out of the car on the way home. That was the first time I ever vomited doing anything athletic. So
So,
no, Tijuana. I was Tijuana about 4 days a week, about 4 hours a night for about 9 months straight at the beginning.
so I imagine this was in the mid late '90s.
No, not that old. Summer of '99.
Yeah, that's late '90s. Summer of
That'd be very
'99.
late. That'd be very late '90s.
Oh, look, I graduated from high school in '97. So when someone says late '90s, I go '97, '98, '99. To me, that's your
Yeah.
late '90s. So okay, so and this obviously was before a lot of the travel restrictions to get out of the country. You didn't need a passport, you didn't need a green card, you didn't need anything. You just walked right over, huh?
You just said U.S. and that was it, man.
That's beautiful. I recently went to Tijuana for the first time since I was a little boy to check out
Different,
some
right?
Lucha Libre, and I was, even in this day and age, amazed how easy it was to get into Mexico, and only slightly more difficult to get back into the country as long as you had, your passport. It's no big deal, but I just imagine how crazy that was for you back in '99, just slipping right through. So what
Yep.
school was that? Who was training you?
Let's see. Most of the time was at, or well, I just kind of split time really at the arena, the boxing arena adjacent to the auditorium. Most of my
Okay.
training there, and then when we weren't training there, we would train at Medico Assassino Junior's gym, which was called Gimnasio Azteca, which was
Okay.
basically a gym that was adjacent to his house. So those are the two places I trained. A lot with Fantomas, who went on to become. I always mess up the clown's names. He's one of the clowns. I can't remember if
Okay.
he's Psycho or Monster or Killer. I feel so bad because I just looked this up again so I wouldn't mess it up.
It's all right. You get a pass. So I never knew that about you. For some reason I was convinced that you had trained at UPW. Did you ever spend
Well,
time at
I did.
UPW?
I didn't know how well I was being taken care of in Mexico because I just didn't know shit about shit about shit. Like that will be a running theme going forward if we're telling the whole life story.
Sure.
So I fucked that up. Long story short, got into an argument with my trainer. I say fight, and people think we like duke it out. It wasn't that. We just got into a little snippy tiffet and didn't get along for a minute. I coached football for a year. and then went to a UPW tryout, broke my foot. I didn't know I broke it at the time. I thought it was just a real bad sprained ankle.
Right.
Went home for a while to let it heal because, of course, idiot, no health insurance, didn't get it taken care of. And then packed all my shit and moved to Fountain Valley and started training at UPW.
And how long were you there for? Like that? So what was the timetable? Were you there during?
When I went to when I went to the tryout, I was among the favored. I'll just put it that way. And then when I moved there, I was no longer among the favored. So I got charged exorbitantly for training, and just being young and not having that much money on hand, I was really in and out. Basically, I would train until I got kicked out of school. So a lot of people offered to help me, and I just didn't want to take the help. Which now looking back, probably should have taken the help, but just didn't. I mean, I'm not here to put anybody on blast, but it really wasn't that great of an arrangement. And I've been told by a number of older guys since then, like, oh, I should have known better, but whatever, man. Like I said, I didn't know shit about shit. A lot of times at UPW, I would just get there early, tie my shoes, stretch, and a lot of people don't think that I'm shy because I'm the neon phenom. But I'm pretty quiet actually, especially in settings where I don't know people. So I'll just sit there quietly, stretch. People would come up and say hi and do the greeting thing, but I didn't know about the handshaking thing. So after a while, I don't know anything. And other guys were talking about going to work at different independents. I didn't know you could do that. I thought they were going to get in trouble. So I heard these guys talking about they're going to work like Battleground or whatever it was at the time. I can't remember. And I was just like, oh, and like totally seceded from conversations because I thought these guys are going to get in trouble. They're going to get kicked out of school because I did not know how anything fucking worked. I didn't know how. Nobody talked to me about gear. I didn't know where boots came from. I had a pair of horrible boots that I paid for that were garbage. I didn't know anything. I wondered when wrestling got to be fun, and it just sucked.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it. I know from my limited experience, like I never trained, but I was at a lot of those UPW shows going back to like 2000. Actually, I think my first one was in 2000 with the Hardy Boys, right? The Hardy Boys showed up to UPW, and it was kind of like holy crap, wow, these are WWE tag teams. UPW started getting really noticed, and there was, Samoa Joe and of course John Cena, and even guys like The Miz who were kind of filtering through the farm system, making that next step to the WWE. Which guys were you in those classes with? I mean, I know they had those WWE names, but there's a lot of great talent that came out of the UPW gym that never had gone on to WWE. Guys like Tommy Wilson.
Dude, are you ready? Because it's long because I was there because I was in and out for a while. Okay, like I'll probably end up forgetting something. Now, and here's when I finish this or don't finish it because I can't remember all the people. Like, this is what made me come back. All right, so here we go. Let's start with people that went to 0-1.
Oh shit!
So there were Skulu the Wild Samoan, Van Sack Active. I believe Funky Billy Kim. I don't know if Benny ever got over to 0-1. I counted him because he would cycle through. Okay, then The Miz, Luther Reigns, Nathan Jones, Sylvester Turkey, Samoa Joe, The Miz, Jesus, that was his WWE name, Aaron Rodriguez.
Aaron Aguilera.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you. Sorry, terrible
That's
names.
Okay. Brian Kendrick.
Chris Mordetsky. Let's see. I remember Chris Daniels came by to teach for a while, but I really wasn't around for his period of teaching. Frankie Kazarian, almost forgot him.
Can't forget Frankie.
I mean, there's just so many dudes. Like Jungle Girl, who ended up in Spider-Man.
Wow. Erica Porter.
Yeah. Oh, Ryan Sakota ended up on SmackDown. R.I.P.
Yeah, the late Ryan Dakota. Good guy, really talented in the ring. I mean, geez, you were literally with a couple of future Hall of Famers there and a couple of dudes who really changed the business. I mean, that's an incredible uh, pedigree class that you were a part of. Um, so, if someone were to look up Anthony Idol and go to something like Cage Match, your first match on Cage Match wasn't until 2013. When did you have your
Well,
first actual?
they've attributed one of my light show matches to Anthony Idol from Ireland,
Oh,
but one of my light show matches made it on there. I'm not counting that. I hope that doesn't upset my standing as second place rookie of the year.
when did you start training? I mean, excuse me, not training. When did you actually make your debut, though? When did you actually get in the ring?
In front of people who actually paid?
Yeah.
2014.
So when you say you filtered in and out, I mean, you filtered out for almost a decade, maybe even longer, right?
Yeah, I was on WWE TV in 2003.
Wow, that's
So and then
incredible.
I think I had a match in like December of 2013. Just before they finally booked me.
Well, that's incredible, and you brought up the second place in the SoCal Uncensored Rookie of the Year award. Now that was when my brief time as the managing editor at Maris, I think that's how you pronounce it, where I was running the site while Steve had taken a 6-year long sabbatical, and so part of the idea for this that I wanted to do for SoCal Uncensored is because before there was all these year-end awards, but there was never any kind of presentation. Nobody actually got anything. You just got recognized on the internet. And Christopher Daniels still asked Steve for his Wrestler of the Year for 2001 award. So I mean, there it has a long, lengthy history. But like there were never any awards until I came around, and then eventually Steve really upgraded them. But we handed out certificates in wooden frames, and I thought that was a classy move. And this is a story, guys, that I might have said before, but it's one of my favorite memories in wrestling because up until this point, I'd never stepped foot in a professional wrestling ring before because I'm not a pro wrestler. I love to watch it, I love to talk about it, but I've never actually been inside of a ring. I never did any kind of training, nothing. And the Rookie of the Year award winner went to uh, Mike Camden of SoCal Pro Wrestling. He was trained at SoCal Pro. He was one of the first guys to break out from SoCal Pro to win Rookie of the Year. I think we'd also get Duke did it a year or two before or after. I don't remember now. But so I showed up. Yeah, before. Thank you. So I drive down to Escondido at their training facility because they're doing a student type show. I would see a young Danny Limelight. I would see some of my favorites like SoCal Crazy. I think Ricky Mandel was even there. And I asked Mike Camden, who had been injured a few weeks earlier, hey, man, are you still going to come? Because if not, we could do this another time. Mike's like, yeah, man, I'll be there. I'm going to be there a little bit late, but I'll be there to accept the award. And I said, perfect. Now, I also know the promoter, Jeff Dino, pretty well. I was a big SoCal Pro supporter for a very long time. I have the 4 action figures that they released. I have a SoCal Pro sweater somewhere, and my daughter had a hat. So I knew Jeff fairly well. He knew my family very well. So I come to the show expecting to deliver this award to Mike Camden, who won Rookie of the Year. And when I'm in the ring, they announced me, and I feel like this is a cool moment. I'm actually in a ring, and I'm presenting this award. I'm holding a microphone. And instead of Mike Camden's music, this guy's music hits. This guy. And so as I'm sitting there kind of confused and a little bit puzzled, I'm wondering what is going on. And you walk into the ring, and I'm 5'9" on a good day. On a good day. And this man is 6'4". And you can see, you've seen him in the ring. He's not a slouch. He's not this guy's a meathead. No disrespect intended, please.
None
He's
taken.
a big dude. And this guy looks at me and points at the microphone. Yes, sir. Here you go. Then he looks at me and he just snatches the award out of my hand. And I'm just happy you didn't throw me to the ground because that's where I kind of thought it was going. This whole thing, like it was a worked shoot, I guess is the terminology. I had no idea what was going on. I'm sure Jeff was laughing in the back. You had a smile on your face, and I quickly exited the ring. You took that award, and I just found out now you pulled the certificate out, you crossed out Mike's name, and you put your name and put that back in the frame. And I think that was at the SoCal Pro Wrestling training facility for maybe even still now.
No, that's Mike's personal property. That's his.
Oh, you gave it back to him?
Yeah.
With your name all over it?
Yeah.
How did that come about, and why did you guys have to work me so hard?
Well, one, the award is important to both of us, just because we felt like we thought the website had not been as prominent. We both made our first attempt in '99. No fault of its own, but the website was a lot more prominent because the internet was a lot, lesser than. So that message board was hot. So before all the hot tweets and all that shit going off, that message board where you talk shit and where things, nothing was proven, many things were stated, but it meant something to get an award, and I think it still means something to get an award. And I like to think that Mike and I helped elevate the award because it became a thing. Like you said, there's a presentation to it now, and now they get actual metal plaques, or wooden metal or whatever. They get a trophy, and it means something. Because a lot of times in pro wrestling, we talk about accolades and achievements, and somebody grumpy is going to go, "Well, it's all work. The belt is a prop, and the Young Lions Cup is a work, and whatever." You know what, man? Shut up. because the list of false accomplishments are in the end or what we're going to stand on. Now, we all love you, and we all know how this thing works, but we also know who they trust and who they give the rock to. And we also know other guys, they're not about the rock, and they don't want it. They don't need the belt. They don't need the strap, and that's fine. So I don't want to get into a bigger discussion about stuff like that, but like at some level, there's got to be some kind of competition. Somebody's got to want to be the best or recognized as the best. And if we're being real honest, like all the other awards are very work based and work rate based, and I ain't gonna be in any of those. So that the Rookie of the Year award was important to me because I was like, this is probably the only SoCal Uncensored award that I'll be up for. So I know I took it serious, and I know Mike did too, and I hope it means something to Mike. It's a special memory to me.
Well,
I need to get it.
I'll be honest, I drove home that night thinking, wow, I was just in my first wrestling angle. This is great. So I got a kick out of it. And I know for a while there you were taunting me. I think it was on Facebook, but it might have even been MySpace. I don't remember how long ago it was. But you were taunting me.
Twitter guy.
You were taunting me with that award. But, in that night, again, that's when I got to meet you. We sat down. I mean, we weren't really standing. We're kind of walking outside of the gym. And you and I were talking about I was talking to Jeff. I go, so tell me about this guy, because I don't really know much about him. And he's like, oh, you'll love him. He's very knowledgeable about wrestling. And you started talking. And I still remember, and I have a shit memory. So for me to remember this, it just means that's how important that night was. That you were talking about, back in the day, the Grand Olympic would have wrestling on a Tuesday night and sell out. And they would do that every week. Why can't we do that now? And I was like, you're right. Why can't we do that now? And I was on board. Like you were preaching to the choir. I was throwing hallelujahs there every few seconds because I just felt like everything you were saying, like I was buying into what you were talking about. Why can't we have this a bigger venue? Why can't we have a more consistent basis of programming? And why can't it be an LA focused brand? Or Southern California focused brand. And I was really into what you were saying that night. And unfortunately, I don't feel like it's really come to fruition, but I really felt Ray really knows what he's talking about. And I really appreciated that night.
I see little bits of it because my inspiration was always Memphis. I'm like, what? They drew 8,000 to 10,000 people for almost a decade every Monday night in the same city. And that's just because it became the place to be and the thing to do. So if you promise people a good time, they're going to come out. So I think it sucks that Bar had the downfall that it did. But I think that was very evident of the crowds they were drawing and the energy they were providing on a weeknight. If you give people a good time and get them out, a reasonable time on a school night, they'll be out there, aka on a Monday, even though I think that was Wednesday or whatever it was. But if you give them something that's worth their money, they'll show up. And hopefully with Raise the Bar and stuff like that coming in, and with LA Fight, I forget what the new GCW promotion's called. I think we're going to see a return. If you give something, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to say it one more time. You give somebody something for their money, they will show up. There it is. And I can see that chat thing right there. Let's go full circle right now, because I did say Memphis and I'm headed to Memphis. That I got goosebumps right now even thinking about it.
I absolutely think that there is not a place on the world better suited for the Neon Phenom, excuse me, I messed that up. I don't think there's a better place in the world for you to be than Memphis. You might be born and raised in Southern California, but your heart, it feels like Memphis to me. And I feel like this is going to be such an awesome moment, not just for you, but for the fans in Memphis. I've been watching Dustin Starr. I've been watching Maria Starr. I've been I used to watch their version of the Championship Wrestling from Hollywood because I wanted to see them be successful, and I'd watch it on YouTube, and I would, oh, there goes my camera. We can put that back on. Oh, don't die on me, camera.
Dustin is a hustler.
I see. Someone just didn't like what I was talking about because they turned off my camera. So yeah, I really liked. I did speak to Dustin. I spoke to Dustin. I think it was I think it was earlier this year. This year's been crazy. And we talked about what they were going to do in Memphis, and they were planning to be in the ballroom, and this was before the Wrestle Center became the venue for them. And you could watch that show grow, you could watch the brand grow, but I think they definitely could benefit from somebody like you who has the look, has the talk, has promos alone. I can't. Well,
I'm excited because that our show, Hollywood was on their actual television, on broadcast television at a reasonable hour, so people actually saw it. So I'm excited. I hear a few people in Memphis are excited, and I can't wait, dude. Like that's like you said, man. It's just shoot, man. Since I've been 8 years old, I still remember the videotape that I rented when I first saw Memphis wrestling, on video as opposed to in pictures. And I need that. I need that buzz, man. I'm probably going to eat 4 smoked Cornish game hens when I'm there too, because that's all I've heard about is Tops Barbecue, and I'm going to wreck house.
Well, you got to go try on some suits. You got to go check out Pro Shingle. I mean, we got to get all the endorsements you can get while you're out there. But when it comes to Memphis, my boy Lamb here just says, give me Bret Michaels versus Anthony Idol, even though we have to wait a month to see it on YouTube. I mean, there are people who have been watching this show, like you said, who watched you in Hollywood, and CC Chanel got the reaction when she showed up. Heather Monroe got the reaction when she showed up. Watts got that reaction when he showed up. Are you feeling pretty confident that you're gonna have that positive reaction with those Memphis fans?
Yeah, dude, man, my vibrations are too strong, man. It cannot be denied. I'm not this person who talks like this. I'm not this person who tells you how it's going to be, but like my vibrations are too strong, man. My vibrations are too strong. When like my foot touches soil in Memphis, Tennessee, dude, I don't know if the camera picks up the goosebumps.
Oh, it is. We can see them.
Man, like ready, bro, electric.
I think this is going to be like I said, a match made in heaven. I mean, you SoCal has been lucky to have you, and I really do feel like you've been overlooked in a lot of capacities, because I mean, you've been very dominant in SoCal Pro. Like I said, you were a champion there. You've been a champion in Empire Wrestling Federation. You're still doing the damn thing in EWF. You're still doing the thing in SoCal Pro. You spent a lot of time in Hollywood and had some everlasting moments there as well. But being in Memphis, I just really feel like this is going to be a good moment for you. And I think, again, Memphis is going to benefit. This is going to be the most symbiotic relationship I've seen in pro wrestling in a while, because I really feel positive that you're going to have a huge impact in Memphis. So let's pull it back a little bit to SoCal, because that's where we're at. And obviously you've been with SoCal Pro Wrestling for quite some time. How did you get hooked up with Jeff? How did you guys start that relationship? And tell me about your experiences working at SoCal Pro.
All right. So I came home from a Christmas break during school, and I went to a CCW show.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So one of those first wrestling school trips I talked about was I went out to meet Charles, Chaz Gibbs, at the CCW school, and he scared the shit out of me because I thought he was a fucking psychopath. Now Chaz has mellowed, and I love Chaz now. He's a very sweet uncle type of dude now. But back then, I was like, I want nothing to do with this man. So when I thought about coming back to wrestling, like I think I Google searched and found SoCal Pro, and Chaz was still on the roster, and I was like, oh, dude.
That's awesome.
So it basically it just bothered me that I had quit. So I eventually was like, well, fuck it, I just gotta go. So I knew where to go. So I just I looked up SoCal Pro online, and they had their schedule, right? Blah blah blah, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and the website at that time updated regularly. So they had no practice on Thursdays at that time, and they had moved it to Wednesday. But oddly enough, they had this week switched it back to Thursday. So I showed up on a random, unplanned Thursday, and everybody happened to be there, and they were just like staring at me like, who the fuck is this guy?
Well, I'm not trying to put anyone down in Southern California, but there is a staunch difference between the majority, like I would say 85% of the rosters in SoCal. Most guys aren't over 6 foot. And that's just the fact.
That's weird to me because when I, of course, when I started, I think I mentioned about 7 people that were over 6'5" when I was at, and I'm not even talking about the dudes who didn't like make it. Like there was other humongous dudes. Like I was a small person at UPW. I wrestled completely different. And now, yeah, I'm Kevin Nash.
Yeah.
Short.
I mean, it's kind of weird because it's this dynamic where there are opportunities in Southern California in terms of sports. Like there's a year-round sports, for kids in high school, college, so a lot of people your size and stature have been migrating to MMA, or they're still continuing the passion of football or baseball, because again the size and strength and that plays a role in it. So we don't see a lot of big dudes in the Southern California pro wrestling indies. I mean, I'm trying to think of anybody that's even close to you. I know, Jordan Clearwater might have the height, and he's a built guy, but he doesn't have the mass that you have. And Slice Boogie's a big guy, but I still think he's not very close to your stature either. So you're kind of Che, yeah. Tito and Che, that's a good, yeah, those guys are absolutely, yeah, you're right. But that's still kind of an anomaly out here. Like Watts might be the only guy in SoCal taller than you, I think.
Brody.
Right? Oh, yeah.
Well, unless we're not going to Brody King.
I don't think about Brody because I think of him as Ring of Honor, but yeah, absolutely. Tyler Bateman might be taller than you, but he doesn't have the size that you have either. So, I mean, you're kind of an anomaly out here. So you're always working with guys who are, not always, but for the most part, working with guys smaller than you. How does that change your dynamic when you're wrestling? And are you more comfortable wrestling with the smaller guys, or are you looking forward to facing someone who has the same size and stature as you?
It kind of depends, man. Like, it's been a while since I've worked with a bigger dude. I really like working with Mikey O'Shea.
Oh yeah.
Got really good chemistry with him. That's probably one of my favorite big dude matches. I think that's probably the big dude I've wrestled the most, actually.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I've had just a couple of matches with Brody. Barely touched skin with Watts. Yeah, I think only Terex once.
Oh,
there really hasn't. Yeah, it really hasn't been that many big dudes. So typically it's, what I refer to as medium guys.
Yeah.
Not that many smaller guys, but a lot of medium.
Did you ever get to wrestle Tommy Wilson at SoCal Pro?
Honestly, only once one-on-one.
That's a shame. That
Not weird.
when he was healthy, when he was
only
good,
once ever one-on-one.
yeah. When he was healthy and good, he was fun, and I think you guys could have told some good stories. And I think with you and Watts, like to me, that's magic ready to happen. I don't know why anyone hasn't moved on that. I think that's his character and your character, volume turned all the way up. Oh, that'd be so much fun.
We'll see, man. I don't write the checks. I just show up and cash them.
Yeah, and look, and I'm not booking any matches either, so all I can do is hope for the best. Let's talk about EWF. When was your match with Rico? Was that this week or was that last week? Did I already miss it?
Well, they're every week because that sucker's on the run from me, dude. So this last Saturday was a lumberjack match out in Redlands.
And you guys are going to be meeting up in San Bernardino pretty soon too, right?
This Saturday in San Bernardino is the Great Goliath Battle Royal, and I think previous to the Battle Royal, I'll be facing Vito Fratelli.
Okay. Tell me about your time in EWF. I mean, I kind of think of you as a throwback anyway, but putting you in EWF, which is a very throwback organization. I mean, Jesse's been doing that since I think 1996.
Yeah, I think it's like 25 or 26 years. I don't know if we count the pandemic years or whatever, but sort of goes back to what you said before about the Grand Olympic. The American title in EWF is a spin-off or basically a sister title of the America's title from the Grand Olympic.
Yeah.
I think of those fans as Grand Olympic fans.
Very much so.
Jesse doesn't really get, or the EWF rather, doesn't really get what I refer to as the school play draw. And the school play draw is the family and the friends, they show up and then they might leave after their family or friends match.
Yeah.
He gets wrestling fans. His buildings are the result of 25 years of flyering that region and 25 years of people knowing they're going to get a good family entertainment show when they go to that. So it's different. You get wrestling fans. And I think I feel different. I feel appreciated there. I like it there.
As somebody who lives in the Inland Empire myself, I do feel like it's a very underserved area. And Jesse's been holding it down, like you said, for almost 25 years, maybe even longer, with running shows in Covina, which I know is not technically the IE, but San Bernardino, Redlands, Riverside. He's had shows in Hemet. He's been all over the place. And as a wrestling fan, we're lucky to have someone like Jesse in the area because he's been so influential throughout the years. But that guy, like you said, he's still flyering areas. Like I saw not too long ago a flyer where my daughter was going to elementary school at in Puente Hills, and there was a flyer for one of Jesse's shows, and I was like, wow, wow. For the Covina show, and I just thought that this guy is still putting it in, and maybe it was one of his street team members, but just seeing that flyer in such a far distance from where they regularly run, it was just like I was impressed. Jesse still impresses me, and he's getting up there in age, but he's still promoting like you should, like flyering the towns. It's not just internet buzz. And I don't think his fan base is internet buzz. I mean, what do you think?
Those long posters, man. Those long posters are still getting it done, dude. Like it's not even the flyer. For me, it's all about those long posters in the windows, and it's the VFWs. Like he's got a real good luck because I wouldn't know how else to classify it with VFWs that draw their crowd. Usually they got a bar, and usually that crowd's visiting for the jukebox, maybe a little bit of darts, and then there just happens to be wrestling. And that draws money to the venue. Everybody's happy. So it works out okay. This last VFW was like the nicest VFW bar I've ever seen, or pardon me, Elks Lodge. But you know the deal. All those community and buildings and stuff like that. It's neat. I think that to me is a part of wrestling that's important because as we're seeing wrestling move towards nightclubs and bigger bar type settings. where people are standing a lot.
Yeah.
I don't get that part, because if you take me somewhere for 2 hours, I'm probably going to want to sit down. But other than that, I think it's neat, because I like being down with the mud, the blood, and the beer. I like a little bit of that smell of the stale sweat mixed with the hardwood in the ballroom or the basketball gym. What you do, I like all that stuff.
I was at the Glass House for the last bar show that they ran there before everything kind of came to light, and the show started, I think, like at 8 or 8:30, and by 11 o'clock I was leaving, and the show was only halfway through, and I was like, man, I feel like such an old man right now, but I've been standing for 3 hours, and my puppies are talking to me, and I'm getting tired, and God, the back's hurting. I can't enjoy the show anymore. So I called it a night early, because it's just that's not my environment. I do enjoy the VFWs. I used to go to a lot of the AWS shows when they were out at the. I guess that was like a VFW. It wasn't a VFW. It's the other one, but yeah. So those have been great venues in Southern California, and like you said, for Jesse, it's been pretty cool. You and I were talking offline, and I would be remiss if I didn't bring it up, because there is a wrestling promotion in this country that's kind of going through a resurgence. It was hit very hard by the global pandemic, but I know you've been kind of paying attention to it. And I'm talking about the National Wrestling Alliance, and its newly crowned world champion, Trevor Murdoch. You said to me offline, and I have to bring it up, is you wanted a shot at that guy. You wanted a shot at the 10 pounds of gold. You wanted a shot at Trevor Murdoch. Talk to me about your affinity for the NWA and what that title means to you.
Just going back to the start of my fandom, because like it was a big deal. Friday night, go get a burger at Fuddruckers, and then rent the tape. And still remember renting the Lords of the Ring, and the Ric Flair Harley Race title changes on there.
Yeah.
And just seeing the Dome Globe, and of course, reading about the Dome Globe, or the actual 10 pounds, Sweet Charlotte, or whatever the heck Nick Aldis called it. Just seeing that in photos forever. Just that's always been the belt to me. That thing looks cool. I love Big Gold. I like the Winged Eagle. Just always had a special place in my heart for the Dome Globe NWA World Title. I like that it's back in action. Hell, I like the AWA Turkey Platter in action in 01. Right. But we talked before about accomplishments, and a lot of people, when they're grumpy, they want to say, well, they don't mean anything. Everything's a prop. It's all work, blah, 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 blah. But only so many people get to say they had a dance for the NWA World Title. Now, granted, that covers a lot of ground, throughout a lot of time when, maybe it wasn't as prominent or as important, but it is prominent again. It is important again. I don't know whether you're going to call it the third or the fourth or the fifth world title. That doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is only so many people get a dance for it. I think Trevor and I could get down. I think that would be something special. I think somebody might call it a slobber knocker, but that's what I'm into. That's what I like. I don't think it would be a bad deal to have my name on that list of people that held that title.
We like the phrase hoss fight, because you get two big dudes out there and they just leave it all in the ring. And every night Trevor Murdoch steps into the ring, it's a hoss fight. You know what I mean? Like there's not too many people out there. He's not going out there to throw you in a figure four leg lock. I mean, he did some finesse with Nick Aldis when he won the title, but for the most part, that guy's out there to throw some haymakers, to body slam you, to crush you, and to go home and drink a beer. Likewise, you're not out there trying to do 450s or hurricanranas. I'm not saying that you can't, just saying that you're out there to kind of similar. And Lamb, our friend Lamb, points out that I tweeted, and this was kind of thinking about watching that match when you and I spoke, thinking about a Trevor Murdoch versus Anthony Idol in SoCal, I think would be a tremendous. Now, personally, I would like to see the NWA consider looking at you as a talent, because you kind of check the boxes. Can you cut a promo? Yep. Do you have size? Yep. I mean, I'm not trying to blow smoke up anybody's butt here, but like you're kind of what was on the demographic of what Billy looks at in terms of his wrestlers. I could see you standing across the ring from guys like Tom Latimer, Tim Storm, and not really getting lost in the moment. I'm definitely not trying to disparage somebody like our friend Yuma, but when Yuma shows up in an NWA ring, he is by far the smallest guy there. And it doesn't, sometimes it doesn't pass the sniff test because you've got such a class of heavyweights, and then you've got somebody who's obviously like at least 100 pounds smaller, at least a foot smaller. And it just, I would much rather see somebody like you representing Southern California, representing SoCal Pro, representing EWF, representing United Wrestling Network.
Well, let's be fair. Johnny Yuma's not representing California. He is an interplanetary justice provider. He's representing Earth as a whole. So
that's correct.
Let's lay off. It's not really about the size of the dog. It's about the size of the fight in the dog or something like that. I watched that too.
Hey, I saw him in good time take Luchasaurus and take him on a spaceship, fly his ass back to planet wherever he came from. But yeah, I really think, again, this wasn't to disparage Johnny Yuma, because I still think Yuma's a great guy and all that. I'm just saying, I think your size would fit very well in that NWA. So I'll just leave it at that.
Well, going forward in 2021, the rest of 2021, and going forward into 2022, I'm going to try to get out there more and do a little bit more traveling. Aside from Memphis, I'll be at Dream Pro Wrestling in Indianapolis the following weekend, and hopefully more places from there. I'd like to get out to Cleveland. I know it's very crowded to get on at AIW, but I'd love a shot there as well, just because that shit looks hot when you see it on the internet, man. It looks like they draw a fantastic crowd. I love that they bring in legends. So dude, let me get on there with Bunkhouse Buck. I'm ready to see Greg Valentine back out there, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's go. I want to get out to Vancouver Island Pro Wrestling, because I already know I am the most popular wrestler in Nanaimo. There is no more popular wrestler on the island than Anthony Idol. That's a known fact. Vancouver Island Pro Wrestling. I know you're not watching this, Vancouver Island Pro Wrestling, but that is a fact. But I am the most popular wrestler in Nanaimo.
See, I should have tagged them in this post. Like I tagged EWF, I tagged SoCal Pro. I should have been out there tagging AIW and Victoria Island Pro Wrestling. Is that what it is?
Vancouver Island Pro.
Vancouver Island, excuse me. I'll make sure.
Which is odd because we run Nanaimo. So Nanaimo is another small island. Basically, almost all my extended family moved to Nanaimo.
So you're going to show up and you'll be the most guy over on the island.
Yeah, it's a fact. Like, my cousin got married this last 4th of July, and everybody asked where Anthony Idol was.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So it sounds like you've got a lot on the plate that you're working on in 2021, 2022. We miss you in the United Wrestling Network. We haven't seen you on Primetime Live or Championship Wrestling from Hollywood in a minute. Hoping that you land back there soon. I'm hoping things really rock and roll for you out in Memphis, because I just really think that's such a natural fit for you. And I'm hoping personally to be able to see you at one of these EWF shows coming up here very soon. Every time there's an event near me and I'm like, oh, wow, that's just like 10 minutes away, I've got family obligations, so I can't make it. But I'm hoping to get out to a show very, very soon and give you a high five in person. T-shirts, websites, social media. How could folks follow you? Where can they get your stuff?
I am at Anthony Idol on Twitter, Anthony Idol on Facebook. Don't send me a friend request. Just follow the fan page. I'm not going to accept any new friend requests. I hate Facebook. I post on there. I share. I like. I go to check a couple of boards, but that's just I'm over Facebook. But it's on there. Whatchamacallit? Instagram at Anthony Idol. On Pro Wrestling Tees, you can just search Anthony Idol, but it's Pro Wrestling Tees /Neon Phenomenon. Get the new T-shirt, Pool Party World Tour, Pegasaurus Rex, Giraffes is mine.
Oh, damn it, that's great. Giraffes is mine. I love it.
That's right.
I'm gonna have to find that shirt. I'm gonna go order that shirt. Is there anything else you want to talk about? What show's coming up for you next? Where are you next?
This Saturday, it's the EWF Sunday, I'm going to be at Global Wrestling in Escondido, or Global Lucha Libre in Escondido. That's it for this week. And then on the 30th, we're going to be in Escondido again for SoCal Pro's Big Halloween Spectacular. And then maybe I'll be at the Commerce Casino on the 31st. I don't know yet.
Keep my fingers crossed for you. And then, of course, November 6th, Memphis, you make your debut. And again, I've got butterflies for you because I really think this is a good move for everyone involved. I think Dustin's going to be blown away seeing you in that Memphis crowd. I think the Memphis crowd just doesn't know what they're getting into just yet. I'm very excited.
I'm fired up. I've already started my tanning regimen. I'm in the gym daily. You already know this, so I will be ready for Memphis.
Well, again, thank you for your time. I also publicly want to thank you because I don't know if I've ever done this, but back when I was doing my weekly JCal views, you stepped up and penned one for me, so I do appreciate that as well. Mr. Idol, you're a good dude. You're even better wrestler. Can't wait to see what's next for you. All my best, buddy.
Thanks, Jay. Appreciate you, man.
All right, cool, man. Well, that's going to do it for us, guys. This has been Sessions with JCal. Make sure you follow our pal, Anthony Idol, not Austin Idol. You can follow him too. You can. There's two idols out there. You can follow him, but make sure you follow Anthony Idol on all socials.
Follow Brian Idol while you're at it. He's cool. I like Brian.
Oh, Brian. He's the EW Florida guy, right?
I like Brian.
Primetime Live.
We're tight like that. We go back like car seats. Second cousins twice removed. You wouldn't understand.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us, guys. So, again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time at the matches. Good night now.
Later, brother.